Common health insurance exclusions: intentionally self-inflicted injuries, injuries sustained by war or active war, elective cosmetic surgery, treatment in government hospitals or facilities, and participation in criminal activity. Waiting period, also called the elimination period, period of time that you have to wait until you are eligible for benefits, mostly for disability income and long-term care policies. Look-back period, usually 6 months prior to new health insurance contract. Replacement: a producer recommends that a client switch carriers but fails to mention the new probationary period. By doing this, they could be liable for uncovered claims under the doctrine of errors and omissions. Exclusions from coverage: things that are never covered. This relates to any type of health insurance. Insurers can exclude anything they want by issuing an impairment rider, even beyond the look back, even back as far as when you were a baby. Prescription drugs: coverage offered as an optional coverage on a health insurance policy for medication. 5 types of disability insurance. 1. Disability income insurance. 2. Accidental death and dismemberment insurance. 3. Medical expense insurance. 4. Dental insurance. 5. Long-term care insurance. Hazard: increases the chance of loss. Impairment riders. Exclusions in health insurance are sometimes referred to as blank blank. Accidental death and dismemberment covers accidents only. AD&D policies may be written separately or may be added to a life or health policy by means of a rider. Consists of 2 parts. 1. The principal sum. 2. The capital sum. Blanket disability insurance written on schools, sports teams, and church camps in order to prevent lawsuits. The policy blankets all participants, so they do not have to be issued certificates of insurance. Underwriting criteria: the completed application, the producer's report within the application, consumer investigative reports, medical questionnaires and physical exams, and information supplied by the Medical Information Bureau. Portability: individuals that terminate employment who were previously insured for at least 18 months on a group health insurance plan must be offered an individual health insurance policy without any pre-existing condition exclusions. Workers' compensation: need property and casualty or fire and casualty license to sell, want the job or occupational health insurance. Eligibility is determined by the state not the insurance company, mandated by state law if an employer has 1 or more employees. Dental expense: insurance that is usually sold on a group basis due to adverse selection. Dental coverage may be integrated into a medical expense, that is, the deductible in the plan can be satisfied with either medical or dental expenses. Conditional receipt makes the coverage effective on the date of application if the company finds the applicant to have been insurable on that date. Some conditional receipts make coverage effective on the date of application or on the date of the medical exam, whichever is later. Long-term care insurance: insurance that is sold by private insurance companies to cover the cost of convalescent nursing home care or home health care. This type of coverage is not provided in any other type of policy. Hiv Consent Form: no one may require the performance of an HIV-related test without first receiving the specific written informed consent of the applicant. No one may disclose that information except to the applicant or to persons to whom disclosure is authorized in writing. Rider: an amendment attached to the policy contract that modifies the conditions of the policy by decreasing its benefits or excluding certain conditions from coverage. Medical expense: this is what people think of as health insurance. It's actually a medical expense plan, insurance that covers your doctor and hospital bills. 2 types of plans: 1. Service plans, HMOs, PPOs. 2. Reimbursement plans. Participation requirements: 75% of the eligible employees enroll in a contributory group. 100% of the eligible employees must enroll in a non-contributory group. Vision care: usually not offered as a benefit. When it is, it often covers an annual eye exam and eyeglasses once every 2 years. HIPAA credit for previous periods of creditable coverage. MIB procedures require this. Capital sum pays for dismemberment. The capital sum is usually written to be 50% of the principal sum. Although AD&D policies will cover accidental loss of eyesight, they do not cover loss of hearing. Accidental death and dismemberment insurance, a form of accidental death benefit rider. AD&D exclusions. HIPAA probationary period. Pre-existing condition limits the probationary period for new enrollees in group policies to a maximum of 12 months and defines a pre-existing condition as medical advice, diagnosis, care or treatment that occurred within 6 months of enrollment. Travel accident will cover you while flying on a regularly scheduled commercial flight, but not on private planes. Coverage is usually written to cover one specific trip only. This coverage is also commonly available to some credit card holders for a small monthly fee. Collect on delivery. Submittal application. Upon policy delivery, you will have to collect the first premium and have the client sign a statement of continued good health, ascertaining that their health has not changed since the original application was completed. Upon obtaining the statement and the appropriate premium, coverage will begin. Pre-existing condition clause, also known as a pre-existing condition exclusion, a clause that allows for a period of time when you do not have coverage. If the pre-existing condition reoccurs during the probationary period, there is no coverage and will never be during that probationary period. Peril, a cause of loss. Disability insurance covers 2 specific perils. 1. Accidental injury. 2. Sickness. Credit disability. This is a type of disability insurance sold by a lender that will cover the payment of a debt or other type of installment loan if the insured becomes disabled. Coverage is limited to the amount of the loan and decreases as the loan amortizes. Accidental injury. Injury that is unintentional and unforeseen. Loss ratio. The amount the insurers pay out in claims per year as a percentage of the amount of premiums they collect, dividing losses by total premiums received. HIPAA, the 1996 Federal Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, a federal law protecting the privacy of patient-specific healthcare information and providing the patient with control over how this information is used and distributed. Specified disease. These policies cover a specific catastrophic illness, such as cancer. This type of policy will pay in addition to any other coverage for cancer you may have. These policies will not pay all of your medical expenses. Coverage is specified, such as $250 a day. Group health policies. Cheaper to buy since the cost of administration is lower and usually better than that provided by individual policies. Upon termination of employment, group coverage is convertible to individual coverage without evidence of insurability. Limited policies. Disability income replaces your lost wages if you should become disabled. This type of policy will cover your loss of income only if you are totally disabled as defined in the policy. Total disability. The insured is unable to perform his own job for the first 2 years and any job they are suited for based upon their education, training or experience thereafter. Health insurance, sometimes called 1. Disability insurance, 2. Accident and sickness insurance, 3. Accident and health insurance. Non-occupational health insurance policies, they cover you off the job only. Pre-existing condition. Binding receipt provides unconditional coverage, gives a person immediate coverage without any conditions. Hospital confinement indemnity coverage is limited to a certain amount for each day you are hospitalized, regardless of the cause. Coverage is in addition to any other coverage you may have. Sickness or disease which first manifests itself after the effective date of the insurance policy. Medicaid, a public assistance welfare type program for people with little or no assets or income. Participants do not have to be 65 to get Medicaid. Principal sum pays for death and severe dismemberment only, such as the loss of 2 limbs in the same accident. Hospital confinement indemnity coverage is limited to a certain amount for each day you are hospitalized, regardless of the cause. Coverage is in addition to any other coverage you may have. Principal sum pays for death and severe dismemberment only, such as the loss of 2 limbs in the same accident.